Friends, over the past 2 episodes, you and I have done a tech review along with it, and then a full first drive review of this, the 2017 Mercedes Benz E300. But now it's time to geek out more in a technology kind of way and see how Mercedes has integrated Apple CarPlay for the second time here on the show in this new E300 that has a hell of a lot more technology than that SL550 that we drove back in January. Now, last time you and I played with Apple CarPlay and a Mercedes, we were less than enthused because the system, the integration wasn't that great. So let's start with the biggest change. Notice it's got this huge screen. It's like this landscape mode screen instead of like that old school Virgin Atlantic from 1984 individual TV screen size thing. It's actually like a real screen here. You've got more space in between the icons here. Notice the car is actually picking up the traffic and slowing us down a little bit here. Now, you can, if depending on your phone and what you have loaded, you can go and move between all of the different apps. So in this case, I've got iHeartRadio, Pandora, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio put on my phone. But the big thing you notice, which we saw in the SL63, okay, wait a minute, the car is gonna stop itself. You know what I didn't demonstrate for you in the last one was the complete stop at a light. So let's come away from this for a little bit. I know we're changing subjects here. The car is going to come to a complete stop. Okay, so brakes have been engaged. I'm set up on my individual, which means I set up the eco mode on the engine. So now the auto stop start has kicked in. Okay, the light has changed, but look what happens. The Windstar is going, the engine goes up, the car doesn't go, but notice it gives me some range on the speedometer. All I got to do, and that guy is honking at me, all I got to do is hit the gas once. Just tap it once, and the car will pick up or resume the speed that you had set before. Now I'm up at 55, I'm gonna go back down to 45, because I'm gonna give you a little advice here. If you live in LA or you come to LA and you go down this hill here going into downtown Malibu, do not speed, not even for 1 mile an hour over, because I promise you, you'll get a ticket. I had a guy write me a ticket for 51 in a 45. I fought it, he didn't turn up, but 51 in a 45, and he was right there. Okay, so let's get back to Apple CarPlay. Now, the first thing you notice here is, see how I'm using this wheel here, this scroll wheel? I can do that. Oh, hands on the wheel, it's yelling at me again. I can do that, but what I can't do is, remember the capacitive touch thing we talked about in the tech review? Doesn't work over here. And this is very nerve-wracking, especially with a pretty Porsche in front of us, with a matte black finish. I don't want to scratch his paint, Whew, safe again. Gotta tell you, I'm starting to trust those stereo cameras up there. So either one of these things, this does nothing. Doesn't work here at all, doesn't work here at all. And I really can't use this. Like, for example, if you swipe to the side, up, down, it won't move between the icons, but what it will do, you press this, it'll open up that app. And for those of you, whenever you ask me about leasing cars, I would like to refer you to Mr. Dave Ramsey. Highly suggest you follow this guy because if you want to get anywhere in life, this man will actually show you the way. Anyway, enough for Dave Ramsey. So let's go back to the main menu here. Now there's a couple ways to get to the main menu. You can use the main menu up here. You can use it here, but what this one does, it goes to the main menu of the Mercedes Benz UX. And notice, as I'm doing this, the car is dealing with the stop and go traffic. So a lot of moving parts going on here. So I can scroll between all of the different apps from the Mercedes UX, and I can do that here as well. So this is, we got a red light. Now notice, the car will not pick up the red light, so we're gonna stop actually at the red light because I do not want to get a ticket for running lights because I'm demonstrating Apple CarPlay. Okay, so once again, I'm just gonna hit the gas. The car is gonna go again. Let's get back to Apple CarPlay. Okay, so we were going between the different Mercedes-Benz UX apps here. Now notice, I can do that here. I can do that here, but I can't do it over here. This one, if you remember, is controlling the center trip computer. So whether it's the trip computer, radio, navigation, whatever is set up here, that's what this capacitive touch 5-way controller is for. So let's go back to Apple CarPlay, but notice once I get back into Apple CarPlay, I can't use this at all. It's totally, this is basically all the controls you get. And you're probably wondering, well, what about using your finger? Same deal as in the SL63. I personally think Mercedes Benz is missing the boat here. Like, look at this car. I mean, this car is a testament to technology. They have leapfrogged everybody, and I mean, they have leapfrogged Tesla, if you really think about it, because this car, the way this one's equipped, I'm guessing, let's say it's somewhere between 60 and 70,000 US. You want to get a Tesla with a system that does all this, you're talking 140 grand. So this thing is like at least half cheaper. So that's why I would say this leapfrogs the Tesla and all this technology, but I can't understand why the hell they have this. You could only use one of the 3 input devices to work on Apple CarPlay. Very, very strange to me. Then everything else is kind of the same. So like if you go into your apps here, like the phone.
With whom would you like to speak?
Everything is going to be, we're going to go back here. Let's go back to the main menu. Everything is voice input, or it's through here. The whole point, remember we talked about this in the Hyundai episode with Apple CarPlay. Apple CarPlay is all about what you can't see. It's all about you interacting safely with your eyes on the road, even when the car drives itself like this. So let's go back to the home. It usually takes 2 when you get in certain apps. I got to tell you, this home button thing here, not consistent. This one is generally consistent to go back to the main menu of the Mercedes UX, but not consistent in getting back to Apple CarPlay. Get it? Then, and this is, I would say, the biggest drawback of this system. So let's go back to maps. We can go in through the main scroll wheel here. You can kind of see where I am on the map. I actually have coverage this time, not like I was on the Bentley in Europe where I had coverage. It's just I was on the slow speed because I'm a cheapskate. So I can go back to the main menu here. I can also get to the navigation here by pressing the hard button, the application button on the dashboard. It goes to the maps in Apple CarPlay, which you and I have discussed multiple times, that this, while okay, not nearly as good as the Google Maps, and I would argue not as good as the maps that come now on Mercedes Benz. But here's the thing, I can't even demonstrate those to you. For me to demonstrate the maps to you for Mercedes Benz, I've got to open this up, disconnect my phone, okay, and then hit the nav button, and then I get the Mercedes Benz maps. You can't switch between the 2 environments, which this is the only integration that I have seen where you can't switch between the 2 environments. I find this incredibly odd, and I really think Mercedes needs to rethink this. Really, Mercedes needs to rethink 2 huge things about this integration. Number 1, the ability not to use the 2 maps, and number 2, the input, meaning I can't use my finger here, I can't use this or this, I can only use this scroll wheel, and it's not consistent. Like I can use this to launch an app, but that's it. Something tells me this was not wholly thought out and needs to be revised. Now, while we're here, I got to point something out that's not really Apple CarPlay related. Notice you have a funky looking like tray here, and what that is a Qi wireless charging system. Now granted, it will not work for my iPhone because I don't, obviously iPhone, Apple hasn't gotten around to doing the Qi standard. Why, I have no idea. Probably just a very Apple thing if they want their own way of doing things. But for you Android users, you can actually just put your phone there and it will automatically charge. Nice little touch. But one very odd thing in this system, if you put your iPhone next to it, and if your iPhone has the Apple Pay system, what it does, it actually pulls up your Apple Pay every time you try to put it on the Qi system. So I find that very strange. Actually, I probably shouldn't show you this because I don't want you guys using my Chase card. Anyway, let's go back to this. Car is still driving itself as we get closer to LA. I think let's plug this thing back in. Okay, so this guy's going. Notice the car picked it up pretty quickly there. Wow, pretty amazing. So let's go ahead and plug this thing back in. Close this up and let the car continue to drive itself while we play around with Apple CarPlay, and I believe that is about everything. So in summary, what do we got? Well, I would say a solid version 2 of a beta integration of Apple CarPlay into a Mercedes Benz. But really, there's a couple things going on here. Number one, huge improvement over the SL63 for no other reason than the larger landscape screen. But if I'm honest, and I put like Apple CarPlay integrations on like a spectrum, I would put like Hyundai and even General Motors like way up at the top, and I would put, believe it or not, Mercedes way at the bottom. And for the life of me, I can't understand, because Mercedes, especially this Mercedes, like they leapfrog everyone when it comes to technology. So I don't understand why this one was such a kind of rudimentary integration. And that's really a function of the inputs, not really how it works on the screen, because you can't use all of the inputs in this specific case. Like they've got these fancy new like controllers, 5-way controllers, but you can't use them in Apple CarPlay, or you can't use like the writing recognition thing on the actual console, which for the life of me, if you have these cool things, why not use it with another cool thing like Apple CarPlay? Now with that, I want to turn this around to you guys, and not like a specific question. I want to make this more freeform, because I predicted a year ago, and really it's been a year and a half since you and I first experienced Apple CarPlay with that Ferrari California T, which was the first car with Apple CarPlay on US soil way back then. But I said that in about a year, the list of cars that are not going to have CarPlay is going to be shorter than the list of cars that do have Apple CarPlay, and really Android Auto, when you're really being honest about the two. So my question is this: what is your experience? Because now it's been out there a year and a half. A bunch of you probably have actually bought a car, or you're driving it and using it on a daily basis. So my question to you is this: what is your experience? Has it improved your commute? Has it improved your interaction with the car? Or has it done the opposite? Has it basically made you want to like throw the thing in the trash? I want to know specifically what you're doing with it, how often you use it, and did you buy a car or retrofit a car, like in the case of Hyundai, for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto? At the end of the day, what Kumo and I are looking for is real world data. Basically how you're using Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, he's somewhat partial to Apple CarPlay, but are you really going to argue with that face? I think not. So let us know in the comments below, or via our social media, MotoManTV all one word, MotoManTV all one word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, I want to leave you with two things. Being that we're already talking about Apple CarPlay, maybe you should download our fancy new app from Apple iTunes for free. That's been new and improved. Or Android Google Play. Actually, I think I've told you this before, but Kumo here wanted to tell you that our Android version of the app is one of the few apps beyond the original launch apps from Android themselves that actually works natively in Android Auto. You know what? We're going to call that the fun fact too. So me and Kumo, we're probably going to go get some dinner here. He's very excited, you can see that. We've missed him because, you know, he has a thing for British cars. He really doesn't like German cars. Don't tell Mercedes that. They don't really like to know that. But Kumo, well, we still love him anyway. And some of you have asked what kind of dog he is. He is a husky, even though he's a beautiful white husky. Look at him, isn't he nice? And he's going to come and say hello to the camera right now. Go and say hello to the camera. Say hi to your fans. Say hi to everybody. Okay, that's Kumo's way of saying bis später. You want to have dinner now? Yeah, I think so. Ciao.